We're here today at the Berryville Baptist Church in Berryville, Virginia. And you can see this is a beautiful church building. And when we walk around the side of this church, there is a notable memorial that was placed here almost 100 years ago by some Baptists who were highlighting the life of one of their preachers from years gone by named James Ireland. You might be able to see on that the years of his life, 1748 to 1806. So James Ireland was a immigrant from Scotland who came here to the States and soon was saved, baptized by Samuel Harris, and then immediately as a young man in his early 20s called to preach. He was ordained at Sandy Creek Church in North Carolina and made his way back here to Virginia. He was one of 30 Baptist pastors that were imprisoned during the years 1768 to 1770. He spent 5 months in the nearby Culpeper jail, and during that time he continued to preach. He was put in jail because he was refusing to preach without a license, and so this caused the local authorities, the Anglicans, to imprison him and treat him horribly. While he was in prison, though, he continued to preach for those 5 months through the jail cell bars. He dealt with mice and spiders and drunks and other horrible, unmentionable insults. He was beaten and encouraged to be beaten by the jailers. They attempted to suffocate him, and they also attempted to poison him in his food. The authorities would send men on horses by for those that were gathering outside of his cell to hear him preach, to try to trample them. But he continued faithful. And again, a young man in his early 20s, standing up and preaching boldly for the Lord. And so then during all of this, what was his attitude? One of the famous, I think, interesting notes from Baptist history is that James Ireland, he would write from that jail cell in Culpeper, Virginia, and he signed his letters "From my palace in Culpeper." And of course, these imprisoned Virginia Baptist pastors were the catalyst for the Constitution and the Bill of Rights that would come about in just a few short years. But today we remember the great legacy of James Ireland. He lived to the age of 61 and is buried about 61, I believe. Anyway, he's buried in nearby Old Buckmarsh Cemetery, also here in Berryville. I believe that the keys to that old jail in Culpeper are on display in a museum in Richmond, Virginia, if I remember right. So enjoy this brief memory of a powerful young man who stood up for what was right despite many difficult circumstances that would cause so many others to quit, here at the Berryville Baptist Church in Berryville, Virginia.